Lagena, Rick Blankenship, Dave Charles Barkhouse, and Doug Crail are exploring the Money Pit area with Choice Drilling Team. They are excited about the possibility of finding a debris field, with the team being convinced that it is a tunnel leading from Shaft 6. In 1861, a team of treasure hunters dug a second shaft 18 feet west of the original Money Pit to avoid booby traps. However, at a depth of 118 feet and just 1 foot shy of their target, the tunnel known as Shaft 6 suddenly filled with seawater. 3 weeks ago, the Oak Island team made a discovery at a depth of 109 feet, suggesting they had located Shaft 6. If the team can verify that the wood they found came from Shaft 6, they may be closer than ever to locating the original Money Pit and an underground debris field filled with incredible artifacts and treasure. Using a specialized sonic drilling rig, the team will extract core samples at intervals of 10 feet and collect spoils into plastic sleeves to be carefully searched for any important clues or valuable objects. The team is eager to take advantage of this discovery and has 3 data sets that show there is, in fact, a tunnel there. This means they must return and examine the geotech surrounding where the Money Pit would sit, which supports additional research at the wash table nearby. The team believes that the westernmost edge of Shaft 6 has provided a much-needed breakthrough, indicating that by continuing to drill east of the site, they will be able to follow the tunnel to the Money Pit's precise location, approximately 18 feet away. Surveyor Steve Guptill and treasure hunter Michael John are sorting through the loot from a borehole called E5.25. They are also looking at a small cannonball or grape shot that dates back to the 15th century and was used as artillery in both land-based and naval warfare. A researcher at the Oak Island Research Center named Michael John is looking into the finding of artillery attached to a weapon that sinks battleships in the open seas. The group is working on a borehole that may be related to the weapon and is close to or crosses the original Money Pit. As they examine the discovery, Marty Lagena and Dr. Aaron Taylor, an archaeologist, propose grape shot as a potential weapon. Lagena and Dr. Taylor are also talking about the finding of an old dress stone, also known as a gunstone, that they think was a projectile fired from a blunderb on an old ship. Prior to the 17th century, blunderbees were single-shot weapons that used iron muskballs, gunstones, and other projectiles. They had a short, large-caliber barrel and a flared muzzle. The finding might support James McQuiston's hypothesis on the possible culprit behind the Oak Island mystery. The group is overseeing the core drilling process for the most recent borehole in the C1 cluster, which is called CD4. 5. Terry. The core drilling operation of the team's most recent borehole, designated CD4. 5 in the C1 cluster, is being supervised by Matt and Charles Barkhouse. The crew is eager to see what they uncover and whether it supports James McQuiston's theory about the possible culprit behind the Oak Island mystery. In borehole CD 4.5, Charles Barkhouse and his team found a section of beam or wood that may indicate an in-place structure. They also found a metal object that may be evidence of a wooden tunnel that is 75 feet deep. The team is interested in the C1 cluster area because of the frequent metal finds and wood hits. The team is working on a new discovery that could provide important information about the history and artifacts found on the island. Rick Lagena came to examine the latest findings and was given a thorough report. They discovered a piece of metal at 75.5 feet that is encrusted and has some weight to it, but it is difficult to identify its nature. They also struck wood at roughly 74 and 75 feet in CD4. 5. Another enigma was discovered in borehole D2, which had traces of another wooden tunnel that dates back to 1488 and a mysterious piece of metal holding substantial gold. Rick Lagena confirmed that it was not from the rig. The crew intends to move the discovery onto the archaeology trailer and place it under XRF, and they hope that both possible tunnels could be related to the original Money Pit. The crew intends to take the finds to the archaeology trailer and place them under XRF since they are thrilled about the possible link between the metals in D2 and the discovery at CD4. 5. When Rick and Charles visit the archaeology trailer with Rick's brother Marty and expert conservator Kelly Barassa, they find an odd piece of metal that is 75.5 feet long, which they think might be useful. Kelly will perform a chemical examination of the encrusted object using an X-ray fluorescence spectrometer, XRF, which can determine the elemental composition of metal objects. While Marty seeks gold, Rick finds iron. To honor their late friend and comrade Dan Blankenship, the Lagenas and their team assemble at the 10X drill site. Along with Dan's son Dave and daughter Linda Flowers, Rick carved a lovely plaque out of the island and positioned Dan's old drilling rig as a tribute to him at the location of his most significant discovery over the 50 years of efforts to unravel the Oak Island enigma. In a year full of incredible discoveries, including medieval tools, artifacts, evidence of something of great value buried in the fabled money pit, and extensive man-made structures in the swamp dating back as much as centimeters, they hope that when people visit the island in the future, they will remember the man and the individual they are trying to follow, and extend Dan's footsteps and validate more than 10 years of hard work and personal sacrifices. Rick, Marty, and Craig are now closer than ever to solving the amazing enigma of Oak Island. Charles, in the same way that their narrative has permanently altered their lives and the lives of everyone around them, Rick's brother exhorts him to hold fast to his faith and believes that it will alter history as we know it. The amazing tale of the individuals who worked in a swamp on Oak Island in the year 1200 AD is only now starting to wrap up the mystery surrounding Oak Island. In order to ascertain whether the ancient brooch from Lot 21 is half gold, Martin Lagena, his son Alex, and friend Craig Tester traveled to St. Mary's University in Halifax. A gemologist assessed the excellent condition. The brooch will be magnified up to tens of thousands of times its size using a powerful scanning electron microscope, and its chemical makeup will be examined to see whether it is made of gold or another precious metal. Gold is dazzling, while pure copper is black. After discovering the first gold piece, Marty is happy by the elaborate setting and the potential for additional treasure on Oak Island this year. Marty convenes a war room meeting to share the good news with his brother Rick and his co-workers. Following the discovery of a lead crucifix and brooch that may be older than expected, Rick and Marty Lagena and their team move further in their 223-year treasure hunt after finding their first gold on Oak Island. Dumas Contracting Limited is rebuilding the decaying 80-foot hole that exhibits strong gold trace evidence in water tests and may be close to a treasure room related to the original money pit. Today, the company started a probe drilling operation from within the garden shaft to hunt for objects outside. In order to find out what's inside the 55-foot garden shaft, the team will physically drill multiple boreholes since Marty Lagena wants something large. The Dumas team will drill 12 holes at different angles in each of the 4 walls of a garden shaft using a hydraulic earth drill to look for man-made workings and artifacts. They will also collect soil samples and a small piece of wood to test for gold. A map scan revealed the wood fragments that were used for the inner lining of the garden shaft. Wood samples from 55 feet inside the shaft contain high trace gold. Wood samples cling to biological wood at 0.11% and are 100% correct, said archaeologist Emma Culligan, who confirmed the finding. It's amazing that this much gold was found. The crew is looking for gold in the money pit area, and the exceptional results are encouraging them to double-check and cross-check samples in an effort to come closer to the reward. Charles Barkhouse and geologist Terry Matt are keenly watching borehole DN11.5, quote, S 80 to 120 feet wealth zone potential. They are nearing discovery, but unclear how to proceed. They find a 90 feet deep hole in the treasure zone known for its gold. Now focused on discovering more gold, the crew can confirm they are near the top of the tunnel due to the discovery of a tunnel at the same depth and 2 nearby boreholes that match the garden shaft. The crew is motivated to learn from missed opportunities and find gold. The narrative discusses an Oak Island treasure hunt by researchers. Their focus is on a tunnel near a garden shaft and a solid wood chunk in the middle. They will send a wood sample to the lab for metal testing. The crew found a tunnel and the garden shaft in DN11.5, quote, SXRF readings. XRF was used to detect metals and elements in the wood sample from a 90-feet tunnel. Small gold amounts are an oddity. Gold sample of water and wood should lead to exploratory drilling or digging. This should reveal the riches at the bottom of the garden shaft. Boys, and now they and the rest of their crew have been on an 11-season journey to find the elusive treasure. However, as they search high and low for these treasures, one has to wonder how much treasure they are already in possession of, and how they have been able to afford this elaborate hunt for so long. American brothers and treasure hunters, Rick and Marty Lagena, started their Fellowship of the Dig in 2006, when they started their search for the Oak Island treasure. It is speculated that they took out loans and invited investors into their venture when they first got the funds to search Oak Island for its lost treasure. They were raised together in northern Michigan and learned about the hidden treasure when they were just little boys. They read about it in a 1965 issue of Reader's Digest and have clung to the dream ever since. Both brothers are very close, even with the completely different paths life took them on during their adult lives, having pursued completely different careers. Lagena. Lagena is the younger brother of Rick and a much more practical man. He is more skeptical about finding anything on the island, but he is also willing enough to dream and try anyway. He studied to become an engineer and founded his own energy company, Terra Energy, which he sold for $60 million. Lagena has a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from Michigan Technological University and a Juris Doctor from the University of Michigan. He has a law degree and is a member of the state bar. He has an enduring love of science and met one of his best friends and now co-star of the show, Craig Tester, in college. Marty is also the founder and CEO of Heritage Sustainable Energy, and his best friend Craig is the vice president of the company. According to Salary.com, the typical yearly salary of a CEO of a company that size is around $600,000. To add an extra revenue stream, he is also the founder of Mari Vineyard, based in Michigan, where he also has a website from which anyone can order extremely affordable wine. Alongside his wine club, the events held there, and the wine tasting tours, he sells apparel, drinks, and accessories. His other investments are unknown, aside from the ones made public, like funding other treasure hunters. An unconfirmed report claims that the brothers get paid around $100,000 an episode, and perhaps even more in reruns, as they are executive producers on the show. This means that with 25 episodes in a season, they are making $2.5 million per season. With this alone, we can calculate that with 166 episodes of the show, they would have made over $16 million since they started filming the show in 2014. To add to this revenue stream, they are also available for speaking events, where their fee is a minimum of $5,000 for a speaking engagement. They also have multiple books out with excellent reviews, as well as merchandise like hats, shirts, and keychains on the History Channel website. To add to this, the island has a tour company, Salty Dog Sea Tours, which is booked all the way through the end of April of this year, a very successful tour around the waters of Oak Island, an additional revenue stream for the crew of Oak Island. This means Marty could possibly have a net worth close to $90 to $100 million. Craig Tester. The next prominent person on the show is longtime friend and business partner Craig Tester, who built Terra Energy with Marty Lagena. He is an expert when it comes to earth scans and drilling. Craig has been an incredible help when it comes to searching for clues around the island, able to recognize the significance behind every dig operation. It is likely he made money from the sale of the energy company, Terra Energy, that he helped build alongside Marty Lagena. In the show Beyond Oak Island, we find out that Marty, Craig, and Rick invest in other treasure hunters' explorations with the hope that they find something of great worth and are able to make a profit on the investment. The sale of found artifacts and treasure can be life-changing, as they are able to get huge sums of money in the hundreds of millions, depending on what they find. Not many treasures or returns on investments have been made public knowledge, but they do allude to investing large amounts of money. Craig is also the vice president and manager of a turbine company, Heritage Sustainable Energy. The salary of a founder and vice president of a company this size would be, on average, $250,000 a year. In addition to this, Craig is also the manager of the Rock Management Group, and he has a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from Michigan Technological University. His net worth is likely closer to Marty Lagena's of around $80 to $90 million, as he was his partner in many business ventures like Terra Energy, Vineyards, and even Oak Island tours. He has also appeared in 100 episodes of The Curse of Oak Island, as well as one episode of Beyond Oak Island. The men have been known to invest their own money into scouring the island for treasures and clues, but it is unknown how much of their millions have gone into this. Alex Lagena. Another member of the crew is Alex Lagena, son of Marty Lagena and nephew of Rick Lagena. He has a degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Michigan. He is involved in his father's businesses, like the winery and energy company. There is also mention of his investments in real estate in Michigan. Alex Lagena is a very popular figure in the show because of his skill and intelligence when coming up with new strategies to find new treasures. He has been in 95 episodes of Curse of Oak Island, 10 episodes of The Curse of Civil War Gold, and 1 episode of Beyond Oak Island. If we calculated that each episode paid him $100,000, he would have earned nearly $11 million. It is likely that he has also earned money from investments like those of his father, and other sites speculate that his net worth is as high as $50 million. Jack Begley. Following the theme of being friends and family, the next cast member of the Oak Island crew is Jack Begley, the stepson of Craig Tester. He is based in Michigan, as most of the Oak Island crew seems to be, and he never hesitates to do the dirty work on the show. Jack and Craig are often working together on any digs on the island. When he isn't working with his stepdad, he can be found with friend and fellow crew member Gary Drayton, a metal detectorist around the island. Jack Begley is a producer on the show and has been in 100 episodes of The Curse of Oak Island. Calculating this would give Jack a net worth of $10 million, without including his revenue as a producer from the syndication of the show. Of course, as he is only a supporting character, he is unlikely to make the same amount as the Lagena brothers, so his net worth could be as much as half of that estimate. However, the show is not his only stream of revenue, as Jack owns his own company, Remote Energy Solutions, as well as being a drone pilot. A drone pilot is estimated to make over $100,000 a year. In addition to his co-ownership of a company that is estimated to make 7 figures a year, his total net worth is estimated to be around $3 to $10 million as of 2024. Gary Drayton. Gary Drayton is originally from England and taught himself the art of metal detecting. He has often helped the Fellowship of the Dig unearth many of Oak Island's incredible treasures. Gary offers invaluable insight to the show and is featured in Beyond Oak Island as well, given his connection to the greater world of treasure hunters. He has many of his own catchphrases on the show and is behind finding coins, semi-precious gems, and most significantly a lead cross with ties to the Knights Templar. He has appeared in 150 episodes of the show, meaning he could be worth $15 million from show appearances alone. However, given his position as a side character, it is unlikely to be that high. However, he has written 2 books and found treasures himself, including rare coins, a ring made of emeralds and Inca gold, and even a Roman perfume bottle. Many sites estimate his net worth to be around $1 to $3 million. Charles Barkhouse, another crew member who has been in as many as 93 episodes and is a fan favorite, is the Oak Island historian, Charles Barkhouse. He has lived and investigated the island for over 50 years, and he gives guided tours around the island as well as the Oak Island Museum. According to Lagena, he knows a lot about Oak Island and is one of the foremost historians of its legacy. Charles first started working as an advisor to the Lagena brothers and is a production assistant for the show. A production manager can make anywhere between $66,000 and $115,000 a year, according to salary.com. To add to his revenue, he is a published author. Aside from being known as a historian, the most interesting fact about him is that he is a Freemason and actually a Knight Templar himself. Some fans speculate that he is there to keep an eye on the island and lead the team away from finding the treasure. Of course, these theories are not believed by serious fans, and he is very well respected for his expertise, which he shares with visitors on the island as well as in segments of the show. Some even say Charles is the true treasure on Oak Island, whose salary as an Oak Island guide is estimated to be around $33,000 a year. His deep roots on the island are appreciated and lend authenticity to their work on Oak Island. All of his show appearances, his book deal, production credits, and tour guide salary would put him in the range of around $2 to $3 million. This is taking into account that he would not be paid the same amount as the main characters in the show, and because he does not appear in as many episodes. Laird Niven. One of the most important members of the crew is Laird Niven. He is an archaeologist and historic preservation expert who has been in over 117 episodes of the show. His skills are welcome, as they rely on him to protect and explain some of the treasures and clues they find on the island. An archaeologist can make a salary of $46,000 to $100,000 a year. Adding in the historic preservationist expertise, which, as a career, can make over $50,000 a year, can be counted on to make his expertise all the more valuable. So in truth, his salary as an archaeologist can be more than double the average, to over $120,000. Laird Niven describes himself as a self-employed archaeologist, and he studied sociology and social anthropology at Dalhousie University. But more than this important cornerstone of his identity, he is also a businessman. He is also the owner of In Situ Cultural Heritage Research Group, a company that provides archaeological, research, and historic preservation services that has been running for over 25 years. His company is internationally recognized, and his research group is said to be worth $22 million. His dedication to historical preservation efforts is well respected and acknowledged in the historical preservationist community. Like many of the crew on Oak Island, he gives a lot of interviews, seminars, and guest speaking engagements for different events and occasions. He is even slated to speak at the Chester Municipal Heritage Society's annual meeting in May of this year. Given the prestige, respect, and expertise of LagIna, alongside his many episodes on Oak Island, his net worth is estimated to be around $4 to $5 million at the lowest. Some estimates would place him at $16 million. Rick Lagena. Rick is the older brother to Marty, and he used to be a United States postal worker. While living in Michigan, he learned to see the world in a very old-fashioned way. He lived by an old code of conduct where honor and determination meant everything. This is how he has been able to keep believing in his dream of finding the Oak Island treasure. A postal worker would make around $62,000, $122,000 a year. While this is a good living, it is unlikely to be able to fund a treasure hunt of the size needed to search Oak Island. His net worth has skyrocketed since joining the show, as he has been in over 160 episodes. Rick is estimated to have a net worth of around $20 million.
Glass from the 18th century was recently discovered deep within a cave. Both professionals, scientists, and other researchers are interested in this.
Rick and his team have discovered a mysterious discovery at Smith's Cove, a site known for its high promise. They were digging deep in the garden shaft, hoping to find gold or hidden artifacts. However, they found an old wooden passageway from the 17th century connected to a section called the Baby Blob. The passage was much darker than expected, and the team began to wonder if someone had deliberately broken apart this structure centuries ago to keep something hidden or protect themselves from whatever lay beyond. They found additional antique wooden beams, part of a well-planned edifice from a lost period. As they dug, these beams proved they were on the correct track. Gary, the team's competent digger, uncovered an unusually shaped metal item while combing the area with his metal detector. This item was older than everything else they found and looked like a past no one understood. The marsh revealed aspects of Oak Island's history, but each discovery led to something larger. Marks were set along the channel to chart it, and every excavation had to be strategic, safe, and calculated to safeguard workers and guarantee nothing was missed. As the crew worked in the marsh, they discovered more ship parts similar to those they had recovered earlier, including a brace from a 9-inch shipwood and a fragment of an 8th century ship railing. In 2020, the marsh may have a deeper history with medieval explorers like the Vikings. In conclusion, the team's discovery at Smith's Cove bodes well for treasure seekers seeking the island's past. Gary and Billy led a Bahamas swamp treasure search and discovered a whole piece of wood, a broken keel, and a massive wooden structure buried in the marsh. These indications persuaded them. There was more than just a treasure in the marsh. Dr. Ian Spooner, a geoscientist, was hired to date the wood and ascertain whether it was connected to the 500-year-old stone road. If it was, the site might have been a trading hub centuries ago. They were eager and driven to discover anything because the swamp continued to astound them. As they dug deeper, they discovered wood and other items that suggested more than wealth. On Oak Island, they discovered royal remnants demonstrating that it had a past before humans were aware of it. While Marty and Rick worked on the southern marsh, Cuba and Fiona discovered a 600-year-old lead coin and a gold-covered button belonging to a British commander from the 18th century. The craftsmanship resembled old log homes, with each part serving a specific purpose. Although the connections between the secret road and the swamp garden shaft appeared to be connected, they were unclear. As they dug, the team discovered more anomalies and structures that went against the area's history, and as they investigated, they discovered the marsh was more than just a historical location, but a deeper mystery. They knew they were battling time, nature, and possibly an unidentified power on a treasure hunt. Rick Lagena, who was born in Kingsford, Michigan in 1952, had a passion for history and hidden gems. When he was 11 years old, he read an article on Oak Island in Reader's Digest that immediately piqued his interest in adventure and the stories of lost riches and abandoned places. At Kingsford High School, Rick spent his childhood wandering rather than watching TV. Instead, he was praised for his curiosity rather than his academic prowess. After graduation in 1970, Rick worked as a postal worker, sorting and delivering mail, but his curiosity with history never went away. Rick and Marty decided to act on the island in 2006 after talking about it. They acquired half of Oak Island Tours, Inc., which owned most of the island. The distant dream became reality after decades of preparation. Rick tackled the search with purpose. He wanted to do things well because he was meticulous. Slowly, the crew discovered more about Oak Island's dark past. Marty's business and IT skills made the brothers a terrific partnership. They made headway on Oak Island's enigma thanks to Rick's patience, love of history, and enthusiasm. Rick Lagena and his crew began a new phase of drilling at the garden shaft. They found a 17th century wooden corridor to the baby blob. This finding alarmed everyone, suggesting a worse history than expected. They searched for 18th century hints to a famous treasure. On top of their physical hunt, they looked for evidence of the treasure that had captivated so many for so long. The crew, led by Dumas contracting limited expertise, searched the passages and concealed areas for riches. One of the island's well-known flood tunnels may have been struck when water unexpectedly entered the shaft through holes excavated around 97 feet. For 2 centuries, treasure seekers battled this problem by pumping out the water and investigating farther down the garden shaft. With perseverance, Rick and his associates found enormous, oddly shaped wooden beams that proved the passage's existence and historical significance. Gary, an experienced digster, brought his metal detector to the site to find items that might reveal the area's history. After his efforts, his detector beeped on a metal piece, indicating it was ancient. As they dug, the crew placed markers along the channel to chart the subterranean pre-machine. Ad-shaped wood was one of the day's most fascinating finds. The passage's construction may have supported the round-to-thin beams. After discovering this treasure, Rick and his group felt more connected to the island's stories. Wetland Oak Island has a lengthy and distinguished past, and Rick, Billy Gart, and Gary Drayton are currently researching it. Their curiosity about history and the thrill of the hunt are what motivate them to find more than hidden treasures. They find parts of ships from the 15th and 18th centuries, as well as an 8th century railing, which suggests that the marsh may have a longer history than previously thought, possibly involving Viking explorers from the Middle Ages to the present. Next, they discover a large wooden structure that appears to be a wall or dam, which reminds them of what Fred Nolan, a former treasure seeker on Oak Island, thought was a dam that was used to conceal something valuable. The team wants to know if the ancient ship railing they found earlier has anything to do with this latest discovery. As the pieces come together, the geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner is investigating the ancientness of the timber structure and its connection to a 500-year-old stone road, which suggests that the land was inhabited long ago. They find that the swamp has more mysteries and deeper depths than anything they have investigated thus far. Additionally, there is another area of interest on the northern side of the marsh, which Marty Lagena and Dr. Ian Spooner are investigating with their staff. Dr. Spooner discovers a stick that is positioned between the rock and the ground below it, which provides evidence that the boulder was moved to control the flow of water in the swamp. The team is intrigued by this discovery, which raises questions about what is beneath the surface as part of their mission to uncover further Oak Island history. Nolan's Cross is one of the most unusual collections of stones on the island, and it appears to be linked to a large stone. A researcher named John Edwards suggests that there is a possibility that something valuable was hidden at Nolan's Cross and that it is related to the Knights Templar. Dr. Spooner's claim that humans have been altering the marsh for a very long time is supported by the fact that Gary and Billy led the researchers back to the marsh, where they found odd tree stumps and layers of old wood in a swamp where trees do not grow. In addition, while excavating, they found a button with a gold coating, a circular arrangement of stones in a trench that was surrounded by rocks, and numerous pieces of intricately carved wood and other wooden objects. There is proof of its historical significance because this was so skillfully constructed that it could not have developed organically. The group grew more cautious and came to an agreement that they would not make any significant alterations until Dr. Spooner had taken the time to examine the area. In addition, they discovered flat ear with a complicated handle, which shed light on the various history of Oak Island and sparked hypotheses about the people who had lived there in the past. An investigation carried out in a cutting-edge laboratory revealed that the button was made of gold and most likely belonged to a military commander from the 18th century. An antique shoe bottom with metal studs that were produced using conventional procedures rather than current glues was discovered next to a stone walkway, which sparked new worries and indicated that this path had been used for decades. Relics, coins, and pottery were discovered by the researchers, and with each discovery they came closer to comprehending the complex history of the region. After beginning their search in the southern marsh, Marty, Rick, and Craig Tester discovered a wooden structure that had been buried under a stone road.